We are live. We're on the air. It's go time. It's the Classic Guitar Rock Daily Update for this Wednesday, August 7th, 2024. And boy, have I got some news for you. Haven't been here for what, 2 weeks? And I've probably got to rename this thing. I would call it the Daily Update. It hasn't been daily for like 3 months. So that's false advertising. But I do the best I can. So let me tell you what has transpired over the last 10 days. Last Tuesday, I embarked on my first cruise. I'd never been on a cruise before. And I went on a cruise. I went with my dad, who's 85, and my sister and her husband, Mark. We went on an Alaska cruise. So we set sail from Seattle, which is about a 4.5 drive from Spokane, 4.5 hour drive from Spokane. So last Monday, my dad and I head over there, stay at my third daughter's house north of Seattle. Then we go down, we get on the ship Tuesday, about 11 a.m. on Tuesday, and we embark on this tour. And let me just say that the tour was awesome, but I did want to talk about some things related to the podcast. You'll see, maybe you haven't noticed, but I've got some awards back here. You see this? Let me show you one. I've got two. They're identical. The highly coveted, what they call the ship on a stick. If you've been on a Carnival cruise, you know what I'm talking about. Okay. You have to win these. Not only did I win one, I won two. Okay. So when I've been lying in the past, talking about Classic Guitar Rock being award winning, I'm not lying anymore. Okay. Award winning, buddy. Right there. Here's the proof. The proof is in the pudding. Award winning. So here's what happened. So if you've ever been, I've never been on a cruise. I'm going to go on more. I thought it was a blast. First of all, I ate so much. I mean, it was a disgusting display of gluttony. What kind of society have we become where we just eat and eat and eat? Isn't it great? And that's what I did. I mean, you'd eat and then you'd go do something for an hour and then you go back and eat some more. And then, by the way, in between eating, you go get ice cream. It was awesome. Okay. What they could just recreate the cruise experience where you go sit in like a room with like pictures of the ocean on the side, and then you just eat I'd do that. I'd totally sign up. Anyways, I digress. So we're on the cruise. We show up. Was it Wednesday? Was it Thursday? Maybe the second day we were there, third day. I go to the Classic Rock Trivia. I'm like, okay, this will work. And you kind of pair up. So you're kind of in a group. And so it was me, my sister, her husband, Mark, and two lovely ladies from Virginia. Sorry, I don't know their name, but we saw them throughout the cruise and I'd say hi to them. And they come into this story. Okay, this is important. So classic rock, right? That's kind of a fluid definition. I have what I consider classic rock. Other people's definition of classic rock might be a little different. So anyways, the way it works, you got 20 questions. Okay. And it was Name That Song. I'm calling it trivia. Is Name That Song. So what they do is sorry, I knocked a guitar down back here. So what they do is they play a snippet of a song and you have to identify it. So it's 20 songs total, right? You're supposed to name the group and the artist. So there's a potential of 40 points on the board. I'm lying. The first time we played 20 questions and you didn't identify the artist, you just identified the song. Okay. So we're identifying the song. We go through all 20 songs. I've got them all. I know every single one. So I'm thinking, this one's in the bag, baby. But no, there was another guy who had 20. We had to go to a tiebreaker. Okay. Now, in my group, again, it's me and my sister, my brother-in-law, and these two lovely ladies from Virginia. They were really more into like two African American ladies. They were more into like soul and R&B and pop, understandably so. So much of what they're playing is more classic rock, Guns N' Roses, AC/DC, more classic rock. They knew some of that, but they were really more comfortable with the more pop side of the house. Well, here's where it gets interesting. So I knew all 20 songs, And let me just tell you about the other gentleman, Mike and his wife, Jenny, their sons, Spencer and Brandon. This is where we first met them, right? Awesome people from Kansas. We've already exchanged emails. We've been talking. Wonderful people. And it was awesome. So Mike and Jenny knew their stuff. I can't verify this, but I think Jenny might have been the brains. I'm not sure. Sorry, Mike, if that's wrong, but I kind of got the impression that maybe she was the one that knew. We'll see. I don't know. I could be wrong on that. But, again, you're like a team, right? So you can help each other. Well, in my group, I knew all of them, and some of the other people knew some of them. But I have to tell you, it was good for my ego because, man, you already know that. You just heard the first drum beat and you know that song. Well, yeah, I'm a nerd. Okay. That's what nerds do. Okay. Nerd's gonna nerd. And I did. And so I was good. I was in my element. I'm not going to lie. I was in my zone. And it was amazing to behold. Anyways, we get down to tiebreaker. We're all 20 for 20. One more song to play as a tiebreaker. They play the song. I didn't know the song. But one of the ladies from Virginia said, "That's Rock the Boat." Who did that? Is that the OJ? Who did Rock the Boat? No, it's not OJ's. But the song "Rock the Boat," rock the boat, don't rock the boat, babe. Okay, it's kind of a R&B song. Well, they played it in the classic rock contest. I had no idea what it was, but the ladies said it's "Rock the Boat." Well, Mike and Jenny, they guessed Bellamy Brothers. Will Hines for the win. My friend Will is in. It's the Hughes Corporate. Will, you could have helped me win the tiebreaker had you been there. But you've already said more than you should have said on this daily update. So thank you, Will, for chiming in. Mike and Jenny guessed the Bellamy Brothers. And the correct answer was "Rock the Boat." I would not, they wouldn't have won either. We might have had to gone to a second tiebreaker to determine. But the fact that one of the lovely ladies from Virginia knew that was "Rock the Boat" meant that I was victorious. Ha, ha, ha. So I won. But it doesn't end there because the next day it was Name That Tune. What was it? 80s? I can't remember. It was 80s. Yeah, it was 80s. Name That Tune. I go back down there. Mike and Jenny are there again. This one there was 15 songs and you had to name the song and artist. And I won again. 2 for 2. Well, so far. But I've got to tell the truth. Went back to do a 90. What was I thinking doing 90s? Met Mike down there later to do 90s. Yeah, it didn't go so well. We got like 13 out of 20 or I don't remember. We didn't do as well. But the Classic Guitar Rock Empire is award-winning. There's the awards for proof. So great time. Awesome to meet Mike and Jenny and their boys. And we'll definitely be keeping in touch with them. And if you've never done a cruise, it was awesome. It was awesome. I want to do more. And here's the thing. I don't talk a whole lot about my personal life, right? But I have a son who's in a wheelchair. And so my concern has always been, how would he do on a cruise? Would it be okay? Would it be accessible? Would he enjoy it? And my dad, side story, my dad took a fall that we got on the boat on Tuesday afternoon. Wednesday morning, he falls down, thought he might have dislocated his shoulder, hurt his shoulder. He's 85, hurt his knees. He's sore. So he's basically, we got a wheelchair. The rest of the tour, he was in a wheelchair. Well, what that helped me realize is that he got around okay with the wheelchair. And I think my son Seth would get around okay with it. So I'm already talking about, let's do a cruise next year and we'll take Seth and the boys. Anyways, so yeah, I'm a fan of the cruise. It was great. It was a lot of fun. Carl checking in. Hi there from Germany. Hi, Carl. Thanks for joining us. He says, how is your classic guitar rock encyclopedia doing? It's doing okay. I am award winning. Okay, won 2 awards. Super proud. Marlon is also checking. Man, all of my friends are checking in today. Thank you guys so much. And we haven't even got to the news yet. So let's get to the news. Marlon, thank you so much. Good to see you. Will, I'll be seeing you in a couple weeks. So I'll be down in your neck of the woods in a couple weeks. So we'll get together then for sure. All right. So news. Let's go to the news. I'm not happy about this story, but I got to cover it because this has been a recurring theme. Let's play a little game. Hall & Oates, Queensryche, Rat, this band I'm about to talk about, Journey. What do they all have in common? Well, they've all sued each other for various reasons. So, litigation across the nation. That's what we're talking about. Journey has apparently backed out of the UK and Ireland leg of their 50th anniversary tour. The shows are listed as canceled on Ticketmaster. Their London concert, this is going to be in the O2 Arena, huge arena, canceled. The group says, quote, due to circumstances beyond the band's control, Journey's UK and Ireland tour is unfortunately canceled. Refunds will be made from your point of purchase, end quote. Now, they're currently out with Def Leppard. They're still playing those shows. That will run through the beginning of September. I will be seeing Def Leppard middle of September, right after their shows with Journey wrap up, because I can't remember who's opening for Def Leppard when I see them, but Journey won't be there. So I'll miss out that part, which I would love to have seen Journey and Def Leppard together. But I'm not positive this is the problem, but this cancellation announcement comes on the heels of another legal issue coming to the fore. This is Jonathan Cain again suing Neal Schon. Here's the deal. Neal Schon has an American Express card with $1 million limit. Or maybe it's shared between Neal and Jonathan. I'm not sure, but Neal is blowing through money like a drunken sailor, apparently. Jonathan Cain says he spends over $10,000 a day on a credit card. I love Neal Schon. Neal Schon is a follower of classic guitar rock. I've talked to him I love Neal Schon. I love Jonathan Cain. I love Journey. I'm a Journey fan. So this hurts my heart when I hear this. Then again, I don't know the both sides of the story. I just know what Jonathan Cain is purporting, that Neal is out of control spending and they've got to control it. And in fact, they've even had trouble meeting payroll, paying the roadies, paying the people you pay to put on a Journey show, the journeyers. I don't know what you call them, but they're having problems because of this spending, according to Jonathan Cain. So there's another lawsuit going on. This article on Ultimate Classic Rock says the only thing that hasn't been damaged is the actual onstage performance, because the footage from this tour is really good. They sound great. It sounds great. Journey always sounds great live. but behind the scenes, not so good. And, that can't help with your relationship when you're suing each other. Um, so, anyways, it is what it is. Hopefully, they get this sorted out. But dates for the UK and Ireland tour have been canceled. Again, it might not have anything to do with this, but it is interesting that cancellations all came on the heels of this financial kerfuffle that's going on in the Journey camp. Okay, remember, I can't believe it's been 8 years ago already. It was 8 years ago that Axl Rose filled in for Brian Johnson for a stint in AC/DC. Do you remember that? Remember, Brian Johnson was having trouble with his hearing, and we thought he was done. And he was kind of, it was weird. What, did the band kick him out? I don't know, but he wasn't with the band all of a sudden, and Axl Rose was. And if you've seen footage of Axl did an admirable job. He actually did a pretty good job filling in for AC/DC. And of course, Axl, a huge AC/DC fan, so he loved it, and he was super excited about it. Marlon chiming in, this is about Neil. He says, I love Neil as a guitar player, but he is one petty guy. I've heard that. I don't know him personally, so I can't. But yeah, I've heard that too, Marlon. I've heard that same thing. Where were we? AC/DC, Axl Rose. So there's an interview with Chris Slade, who was the drummer for AC/DC, 2 different stints with the band, but he was drumming at the time when Axl was with the band. He says, quote, Axl, I think honestly, he did a great job, tremendous job. He's not Brian, and he wasn't trying to be Brian. And he also was not trying to be Bon. He's got a lot of respect for Bon Scott. I know he has, and AC/DC. So yes, Axl Rose has said how big of an AC/DC fan he was. This again from Ultimate Classic Rock. Though his reverence was obvious, AC/DC was sure to lay down the law regarding Rose's involvement. Chris Slade says, quote, with AC/DC, I was sent to boot camp. The ultimatum, quote, if you screw up, Axl, you'll get the boot. That's what he means by boot camp. And Chris Slade sounds like he was in the same boot camp. If you screw up, you get the boot. But anyways, he said Angus delivered the message to Axl and basically said, hey, if you screw up, you're out of here. Okay. So, and by all accounts, Axl behaved himself. He did 22 dates. And it went well. It went well. But let's be honest, Axl has a history of behaving badly at times. He does. But he was a good boy during the AC/DC part of his career. Marlon says, Chris Slade spent most of his career playing for Manfred Mann's Earth Band. That is correct. Marlon, thank you. Marlon would have given me a run for the money in the trivia on the Carnival Cruise, for sure. Thank you, Marlon. But I'm the one with the trophy, okay? All right. Okay. And, I didn't know this. Marlon says Chris Slade also did some dates with Michael Schenker. Michael Schenker, of course, the world's greatest guitar player. Awesome. Rod Stewart. Rod Stewart has said he thinks his days are numbered. That sounds kind of cryptic, right? I think he just means as a performer. But he is, how old is the dude? He's got to be like 80. He's getting up there. But why are we talking about Rod Stewart? Because he has announced 12 more concert dates. He's playing in Vegas. He's doing these encore shows will now follow in the spring. So he's added 12 shows to his Vegas residency. He's Coliseum at Caesar's Palace is where he's been playing. 12 more dates have been added. Also, between the Vegas gigs, he's also performing with Billy Joel. on some dates. That would be a good show to go see Billy Joel and Rod Stewart. I think that would be fun. So if you're going to be in Vegas in the spring, more chances for you to see Rod Stewart out there. Now, I'm going to throw this out there. Here's an invitation because I'd love to hear from you via email, or you can even chime in here if you're on live. This is an honest question. I've mentioned this a few times, and I want to ask the question because I'd like to see if there's a consensus, if there's a number of artists that fall into this category. Here's my question. Are there any artists that you really like as a person? You like them. You like to read interviews. You think they're cool, but you just can't get into their music. Okay. There's probably lots of artists that we like their music, but we think they're jerks, right? But this is different. You really like the individual, but you just can't, as hard as you try, you can't get into their music. I'll give you an example. Alice Cooper. I think Alice Cooper is one of the coolest dudes ever. I love Alice Cooper. Just not a huge fan of his music. I mean, I don't hate it, but I'm just not a huge fan. His songs are not my favorite, but I love him. Is there anyone like that you can think of? And I only ask that question. If you can think of someone that falls into that category, shoot me an email, classicguitarrock@mail.com, classicguitarrock@mail.com. I'd love to share some of these over the next few updates that we do. Notice I didn't say tomorrow because I'm not going to lie. I might not do an update tomorrow. I might not do one the next day. So, but at some point when we do more daily updates, I would love to share your emails. Artists that you love them as people, but you just can't get into their music. I love to hear that. Why am I bringing this up? Because this next group is one of those for me. I don't know why, but I like Dee Snider. I just like him. I've always liked him as a person. He's brash. He's kind of obnoxious, but I like him. I've always liked Dee Snider. And this is a totally Dee Snider move that we're going to talk about. This actually comes from guitarist JJ French, who was on the Let There Be Talk podcast. And one of these challenges, and you've seen it, you've experienced, you've been to a concert. Let's be honest, we usually go to see these legacy bands for their catalog, for their back catalog, right? So if I go see Loverboy, okay, do I want to hear new Loverboy music? Probably not. I'm just being honest. I want to hear Working for the Weekend. I want to hear The Kid Is Hot Tonight. When I go see Twisted Sister, I want to hear We're Not Gonna Take It. I want to hear I Want to Rock. I want to hear You Can't Stop Rock and Roll, right? I want to hear the hits. So JJ French is talking about the challenge. For any band, legacy band that still wants to create music, and a lot of legacy bands have just given up. They don't even try to make new music. They just play their hits and they kind of live on that, which is fine. But some bands want to continue to create. Twisted Sister is one of those. They still write new music. They want to play new music. So how do you get your folks to not leave and get up and go to the bathroom when you're playing your new music? Because let's be honest, that's usually what happens. So here's JJ French. He says, the truth is when you come up with a new song, most people just get up and go to the bathroom. We recorded a new song many years ago called 30. We started playing it live. And Dee started saying, okay, folks, tonight we're going to be doing a new song. I'll give you plenty of warning. It's the song that you're going to go out and get a drink or take a pee. We're 3 songs away from the pee song. Okay, we're 2 songs away from the pee song. We're 1 song away from the song when you can go take a pee. JJ says he would embarrass the people so much that they wouldn't leave because now they don't want to look like schmucks by getting up and leaving. Clever like a fox. Very good. That's that reverse psychology he's using there. It's great. And then French says this. Okay, now these are French's words, not mine. But I will say I kind of agree. Okay. I'll just say I kind of agree. But these are his words, not mine. French went on to cite the example of Bob Dylan as someone who refuses to accept the play classics rule and won't even play the classics in their classic form. Dylan says, or J.J. French says, Dylan is indecipherably bad. You don't even understand it. But if you're a deep Dylan guy and you think Dylan's so esoteric, you go, he's an interpretive artist. He does it the way he wants to. The average person doesn't give a crap. They want to hear blowing in the wind, like blowing in the wind. They want to hear Like a Rolling Stone as the original version of Like a Rolling Stone. They like to hear a song that doesn't sound, or they like to hear a song that sounds kind of like the record because that's what they remember. Dylan doesn't do that game. Okay. I've been to some shows where you're there to hear. Let me give you a perfect example. I wasn't there live. I watched a concert on YouTube. Donnie Iris, Will Hines, Donnie Iris. What's his only song, really? I mean, he's got like 1.5 songs. Donnie Iris's big song is Aaliyah. Okay. So when you go to see Donnie Iris, what do you want to hear? You want to hear Aaliyah. Yeah, you don't care about all the other crap. So on this concert I saw of Donnie Iris, they seriously do like a 15-minute version of Aaliyah that sucks, right? It starts with like a drum intro and there's like they like do the whole song in an acoustic samba version, blah, blah. And then they finally at the end come back and play a version that sounds like the record. But my gosh, it's bad. It's a great song, by the way. And yes, his second half hit, Marlon's Coming In Here, also a song that sucks. Love Is Like a Rock. Remember that used to be a video on MTV, and it's not. That's harsh. The song it's not as good as Aaliyah. Let's just say that. So here's Donnie Iris, who's got one awesome song, Aaliyah, one song in Love Is Like a Rock. And that's all he's got. So you got to stretch it out, right? I understand that. You can't do a full concert if you only got 2 songs. When Air Supply played at North Idaho College in 1980, they had 1 album out. So they just played the whole album twice. That was the concert. Where was I going with this? Oh, this whole idea of playing the hits. Yeah, you got to play the hits. But Dylan, first of all, let's just be honest. Can we just be honest here? The only people that want to go see Bob Dylan are the true Dylan hardcore. I mean, I'd go see, you got to be fully committed to go sit through a Bob Dylan show. I mean, because a passive fan, no way can a passive fan sit through a Dylan show like a passive fan could sit through a Loverboy show, right? Even if you're not a Loverboy fan, you'd have fun because you know the hits. You go, oh yeah, I know this song. That's pretty good. But Dylan sounds so terrible that a passive fan ain't going to go and ain't going to enjoy it. And then if they did go, yeah, they'd want to hear Blowing in the Wind like they're used to hearing it, not some changed up version that he'd do. Mellencamp falls into that camp too, is changing things up. Of course, he won't shut up, so he talks politics. So anyways, it's a whole nother. Where am I going? I'm grumpy today. Let's move on, shall we? So on the 2nd of August, I was on the cruise. I was on the high seas. Aerosmith announced that they were retiring from touring. They were done. No more Aerosmith live. A lot of people shared their thoughts, but I wanted to share one thing in particular, one comment here. Motley Crue bassist Nikki Sixx has paid tribute to Aerosmith after the legendary Massachusetts rocker. This is from Blabbermouth, by the way. He's paid tribute to Aerosmith after the legendary Massachusetts rockers announced that they were officially retiring from touring due to Steven Tyler's vocal injury. They made the announcement on August 2nd nearly 1 year after the now 76-year-old singer fractured his larynx. Larynx? Is that how you say it? During a September 2023 show. So on the 6th, that's yesterday, right? Nikki Sixx took to his social media to share the following message. Quote, in 1973, a 15-year-old named Frank Ferrana walked into a record store alone and emerged with the first Aerosmith album in hand. I would carry that album with me everywhere, including to friends' houses, confessing to them that this was the future of rock and roll. As the years rolled on, my opinion never changed. Lyrically, musically, rhythmically, and especially with those monster songs, Aerosmith was unparalleled. Their entire catalog is outstanding, but those first 5 albums were the holy grail for a young future Nikki Sixx. I recently sat on the cliffs in St. Barth's playing along to those albums. Can I just say Tom Hamilton's work continues to inspire me? And what a rhythm section they had with Joey Kramer behind that kit. Joe Perry and Brad Whitford wove those guitars back and forth to the point you sometimes couldn't distinguish the dueling guitars because the sound became one big kick to the side of the head. Steven Tyler, to me, has always been the ultimate singer, lyricist, and showman, but personally, he's a man who helped me at the beginning of my sobriety. I've been lucky to become a peer, a friend, and always a fan of this great American rock and roll band. Thank you, Aerosmith, for everything. I think Nikki summed it up pretty well. What do you think? Aerosmith. Aerosmith, again, one of those bands. Are they in my top 5? No. Are they in my top 10 favorite bands? Probably not. I think they're a great band. I understand why many people have them in their top 5. One of the great, they're definitely one of the great American rock and roll bands for sure. But sad to see them go out, but also probably time to do that. So our congratulations to Aerosmith for a great career. It's been that same core the whole time. Fortunately, they're all still alive. They're all going out on their terms. So good for them. And man, what a legacy. One email I want to share. You can send me an email, classicguitarrock@mail.com. Here's an email from Tracy. Just a nice email. Hi there. I wanted to say thank you for allowing me to follow this site. So this is from the website, classicguitarrock.com. I'm a huge fan of so many 60s, 70s, and 80s rock and roll artists. There's a few I also liked from the early 90s as well. I'm not seriously up for podcasts, but sounds like it would be right on. Well, thank you for following the website. And hopefully maybe you'll get into podcasts and you can join us for the podcast. And of course, there's a radio station too. He says, muchly appreciated. Take real good care and stay safe. So thank you so much, Tracy. I think I referred to Tracy as a he. I don't know if Tracy's a he or a she. Doesn't matter. Tracy, thank you so much for your email. Appreciate it. Any of you can email me at any time. Well, guys, I got long-winded today. Thank you so much for tuning in. Glad to be back on solid ground. Not going to promise I'll be back tomorrow, but I'll try. So from the award-winning Classic Guitar Rock podcast, thank you for joining. We'll do it all again at a future date. Live long and prosper. We'll see you. Bye-bye.